$34,251,566. That is the total amount auditor KPMG deemed ineligible, questionable, or unsupported in funds the FSIN received from Indigenous Services Canada. The forensic audit was launched following various allegations against the organization. Saskatoon Tribal Chief Mark Arcand says he's been on the FSIN Treasury Board since 2013. He says the Treasury Board members' signatures are not required on all financial documents. Instead, it is the FSIN executives who sign off.
The FSIN is incorporated under FSI Inc. They're the ones that got the original draft findings on June 19th. As part of Treasury Board, we are not included. Due to the Convention Act, at the direction of our chiefs in Assembly, we are responsible for all financial matters. But we weren't invited by the chair of the Treasury Board, and that chair is Chief Bobby Cameron.
With over $34 million unaccounted for, Arcand is now asking what happens if ISC cuts funding from individual First Nations who are already underfunded.
So how are we paying that back? So when you talk about next steps, our rights holders, the chiefs, if this comes to an assembly, how can they make an ethical decision when nobody's telling them what's going on?
The audit covered the period from April 1st, 2019 to March 31st, 2024. COVID-19 funding was the biggest area of discrepancy. Of the $26 million reviewed, $23.5 million was deemed ineligible, questionable, or unsupported. Chief Kelly Wolf of Muskeg Lake Cree Nation says the fact that this much money went unaccounted for requires immediate attention from both the federal government and law enforcement.
How are these audits overlooked? How are these audits not red flagged? Back in our community, we have to sign amending agreements for $1 if there's any discrepancies between our funding agreement between Canada and the nation. Yet the FSIN can get away with all of this.
Former second vice chief of the FSIN and former chief of Flying Dust First Nation, Bob Morasti, says the organization needs to hold its leaders accountable, something he believes cannot happen under the current executives.
These people cannot continue to have that division amongst our nations that's happening. Their continued role as executive will continue this division and disunity amongst our people, amongst our nations. That can't happen anymore. We must clean house.